Hey everyone, thanks everyone for being here at USA Crypto Group for this AMS session. Today we have Track the Funds, TTF, with us. Track the Funds' overall goal is to make trading safer by empowering the investors with useful information. With that being said, I'd like to welcome Dan back to the team from the team. Dan, pleasure to have you back. Now, if those are listening, Dan actually came back. This is the second time. They came in for the Eagles Den, and they're all the winner. They were the winner on the Eagles Den. So pleasure to have you back, Dan, and so we can go in depth on your project. If you can start out introducing yourself, talk about your team, and give us a bit of insight on your background and experience, please.
Yes, sure thing. Great. Glad to be here, guys, and thank you for having me. So I'm Dan, one of four core team members who got together to start this project. So we got together a few months ago. There's me, Dan. There's Don, who's the project manager and the guy who initialized the project and brought us together. We have Hosni, who's our senior developer who programs the utility for us. And we have Emma, who's helping out and supporting us behind the scenes with some other initiatives. So my background, I was introduced to, I started looking into crypto a couple of years ago, but I only got into DeFi about 1 year now. So that's when I got introduced to the whole DeFi space and low market cap, pretty much after I got wrecked on everything else. I got in at the top of the market, so everything else I touched, I just kept getting wrecked, and eventually that's what brought me into DeFi and low caps. So my background is, I have an IT technical background. I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades as well, master of none. As far as crypto background goes, this is my first project. So I've got a lot to learn, and I'm learning as I go along. And I've been absorbing a lot of information in the past year by investing and trading a lot of different projects and making friends and connections. So through that, I learned how to read the blockchain. I started seeing what farming and rugging and scams were all about, which led me to learn about the blockchain. And from there, I began helping a lot of people, understand what's going on with transactions and everything. And that skill set is what brought me to this utility and wanting to do the same for others. So the way the project got initialized is Don had come to me, I was reporting some transactions, and he says, this people need to know this information. This can save people a lot of money. What I'm seeing, we should share that knowledge. I go, well, even myself having that knowledge, I can't even help save myself, because the problem is you see the transactions after the fact. Nobody has time to go look on the blockchain and see what's going on. So this is where the idea and how we got together and our backgrounds. We actually, a funny story, we actually all got scammed on the same token, rugged. I shouldn't say rugged. I would say farmed on the same project, and that's what kind of brought us together.
That is awesome. That's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. Man, apparently you guys have some extensive background in crypto, and especially TG, right? So you kind of made that assessment that what is needed in the crypto space, especially bots in TG, and how it will help the investors make assessment on a certain coin to determine whether that coin is legit. So that's how you came up with this concept here. Now I'm looking at your team. You have four main members of your team. You have Don, and you have Don is you, or no, Dan is you, right?
Yeah, I'm Dan.
Okay, you're the CMO and strategic advisor, and you have Don as the CEO, and you have your CTO, and as well as Emmanuel. Now, all you guys were in the same project, huh? Or invest in the same project at once?
Yes. So we had three out of us out of the four were. I'm not sure if Emma had any tokens. I don't think so. But we were invested in the same project, and that project was just a farming project. We didn't see it coming, and that's how we connected with each other, how we found each other in a way. But I've actually actually that's false because I've known Don for over a year now. So we've been close and trading together for quite a while. But from that event is where we decided, you know what, let's do something about this. Enough is enough. People are getting cheated all the time, losing their money, can't trade honestly. So let's do something about it. And we started this project.
Yeah, Elma's not here, but I love his profile picture. It has a Confucius little dictation on there. You know,
yeah,
that's a nice quote on there that he has on his profile there. That's pretty cool. All right, so for those that are listening, Dan, and if they did not attend the Eagles Gen, could you give us a summary or an elevator's pitch of what the project's about? Then after that, we will go in depth on every single aspect of it.
Sure. So, quick summary of what the project is about. So so we created a utility, a Telegram bot, and the Telegram bot allows people to scan a contract, provides them a lot of information on the initial scan based on blockchain data on the contract information, and from there, it can do other things besides provide initial due diligence. So it'll check for if it's honeypotted, for example. It'll check the functions. It'll provide the tokenomics, the supply, and other relevant basic information. It'll also show a summary of the team wallets where the fees are collected, their balances. It'll show if there was any airdrops. So that's the initial scan. Then from there, you can pull up a chart and get a quick instant view while staying within Telegram without having to leave it. But the main use case and feature was built with the alerting system. So you can turn on alerts, and there's different things that are being monitored on the blockchain. And these alerts is to allow people to be attentive and see early signs of either good transactions or bad transactions, or just transactions that they might want to question or base their decisions on. So that's the utility part of the project, and the utility has been tokenized, which we can get into details. There's 3 different use cases for it, each one that will support the token that we built behind the utility, so that the token plays a key role, an important role to the project, and all investors can benefit from it as well.
Awesome. Now, the token or the bot is actually, there's 2 sides to the bot. I mean, ultimately, the main objective for your or the vision is to make trading safer by giving the investor the useful information. Now, this bot can also help project owners as well, correct? Now, can you speak on that, how it can also help the project's owner?
Yeah. So one of the use cases is we feel project owners need to start being more transparent, and hopefully with more, as people are more educated in trading and investing in these tokens, they rely on that. So the same way a project owner will go through a KYC or docs themselves, it's to provide trust, to provide some form of transparency. And the bot, if they were to use this in their own communities for their own projects, it's basically telling their community, you know what, we're not going to hide what we're doing on the blockchain. So we're going to install this in our community and allow you guys to see in real time what's going on with our wallets, with our contract. So it's a level of allowing them to provide that transparency and hopefully instill trust. And yeah, it's pretty much that. We want to call out and showcase project owners who want to be transparent. That's what it comes down to. We want to play a fair game with everybody, whether it's traders, investors, or the project owners themselves. It should go both ways.
Right. And I think it's actually very important. So just to kind of touch on what Dan just said there. So, for example, you have Bobby Buy Bot, right? I think everyone by now have heard of that, right? It just provide basic information within the Telegram. Now, Dan and the team, they want to bring the bot to the whole different level, which it includes all the necessary informations like he mentioned. It tracks the wallet, It tracks the marketing wallet, the team's wallet, the airdrop. And I want to go in depth in that a little bit more. But from the investor's perspective, those are the information that's very necessary, needed in order for you to make the judgment on whether you want to invest in the token. Now, the flip side of that for the project owner is that it provides transparency and convenience for the investors or the people in their community able to look it up immediately inside the Telegram. So I think for the project owners, I think that's actually be very helpful as well, because it brings trust, right, to the community. And that is the ultimate goal right there, right?
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to show them that trust, to show them that you're not trying to hide, or at least you're showing your community stuff that you can show. So yeah, you're building trust, and all dev owners want to build trust, but why not show them in real time what's going on with the project and how it's being managed, how funds are being managed, or airdrops or anything, or buybacks, or contract changes, because there's a lot that people don't know. There's a lot that people can't see for themselves. And this way, by listing this information in the community, somebody who doesn't understand it, another community member can answer it. So, oh, what's this about? Oh, this is a transaction that just shows that they've changed the taxes from 5% to 10%. Oh, okay, and whatever. So basically, everybody stays on the same page. The whole transparency and trust factor.
Right. Now, guys like us who've been in the space for a long time and have been trading for a long time, and I do know what to look for, right? An example is, the team's wallet, marketing wallet, etc. Now, a lot of people who are new into the space may not know what that is. Or even if you've been around, you just don't know what to look for. So this is going to spark a lot of engagement. It's actually going to teach a lot of people what to look for as well. Now, with that being said, Dan, let's walk through the functionalities of these bots here and why you think it's crucial that you guys are monitoring these functions.
Yeah, and 100% I agree with what you said. It does provide education. So people who are savvy, who've been around, it makes it a lot easier. It allows them to see stuff that they will never otherwise see until it's too late. And for newbies, it'll educate them on what to look for, what matters. So the features of the bot, I guess I'll go into the launch. Well, the main features here, I'll list them. So let's go. So like I said, we have three main use cases. So we have a free pro version and a premium version, which is the same use case, and then a custom version, which is what we were just talking about for devs to be transparent. Now, so the free version, the features of that is there's a scanner where it will provide you initial information, which is this screenshot right here. It'll list a lot of information on the token. So that's the starting point. From there, like I mentioned, we can pull up charts. We have many timeframes. Actually, you know what? I think I can just maybe bring up the bot itself. Might be easier to explain the features. Let me just go into my lounge here. I don't know if you guys can see it properly this way. Maybe not. No, all right, let me just explain them. Sorry. Okay, so the features, basically, I'll go through here. So we have the scanner, which is the report. We got the charting capability. In the charting capability, there's many time frames people can pull up, from 1 minute all the way to 1 week candles. And the monitoring aspect. So monitoring these token will constantly provide alerts for any tax changes on the contract. It'll show any funds movement from the team wallets. So when we say team wallets, it means the wallets where the tax fees are going into. So it could be a marketing wallet, it could be a development wallet, or any other type of wallet. And it'll monitor all the funds that are being transferred in and out of those wallets, so people can know when or potentially how the money is being spent, or where it's going to, if it's always going to the same wallet or different wallets and stuff like that. That's the main features. So the scanner, the charting, and monitoring of the team wallets and tax changes. When you go into the upper tiers, there's a few additional features, which is just the alerts. So more critical alerts for people who want to really pay attention to their investments. It'll monitor all contract changes as well. So any type of function changes, whether wallets are being blacklisted or liquidity pools being removed or added, it'll monitor those things. It'll also monitor airdropped wallets. So a lot of launches, they'll have airdrops. Sometimes it's for marketing purposes. Sometimes it's to the team. Sometimes it's even a pre-sales. But when they're team airdrop wallets, that's very, in my experience, very important to pay attention to those, because when you see the team airdrop wallets selling after 24 hours of a launch or early on, it's not a good sign. It's like if their own team members don't want to hold, it's like, what do they see in the outlook of the token? Chances are they're just trading it for degenning purpose or for farming purposes. So that's an important feature to monitor as well. And it'll also monitor buybacks and sell of tokens from the team wallets. So I see marketing wallets selling tokens that they potentially bought back, that they should have either burned or used for other purposes. And it'll give those red flags to people. It'll give you also green flags. You can see the buybacks happening. You can see the burns happening. If they burn the tokens, it'll alert you to those too. So that's the additional features in the Pro tier. The Pro tier, although requires people to hold some tokens, so $200 worth of TTF tokens. Then we have the Premium tier, which the features on that is, the tricky part is we'll see 3BNB being sent to a wallet. The problem is, what does that mean? Who did it go to? So what we're going to do with the premium version, we're going to label as many wallets as possible to allow people to help identify the wallet. So callers, for example, or influencers. So let's say a wallet will be labeled as Caesar, for example. And so instead of saying send 3BNB to XX wallet, it'll say send 3BNB to Caesar. Same thing if it's being sent to a Binance wallet. Instead of saying send to wallet XXX, it'll say send to a Binance account. And people can determine what to make out of those, but at least it gives them more valuable information that the money is being spent or going to certain areas that potentially may be red or green flags. That's the premium version. So those are pretty much all the features of the bot. You have the scanner, the charts, and the alerts, and different tiers, different types of alerts depending on your membership.
All right. So those are the free features. Then you got the Pro and the Premium and the Custom as well. Now, what does Custom entail? Can you touch on that a bit?
Yes. So the Custom is for the use case so as far as use case goes, like the free version is good for groups, it's good for people who just want to scan charts. They're trading all day long, day traders. They want to pull up charts on the fly. So that use case is, we want to bring it to all over TG to allow traders to quickly make their decisions on their trades. And that use case, what's good for the token, how it's tokenized, is we're going to be selling ads on that. So as users grow, so will the ad revenues. And those ad revenues will be used for marketing operations, or the end goal would be for rewards to users, to holders of the tokens. So right. That's for that. And the Pro and the Premium, of course, the use case there. For that use case, it's more for investors. It could be for traders. It could be for small private groups who want to really keep an eye on their holdings. So more the investor audience, and it can be used in DMs or in groups as well. And as those users grow, who want to take advantage of these features, it'll support the chart. More users, more holders, more chart growth. Now, when it comes to the Custom version, so that's the same features as in the Pro version. You have the options of all the alerts. The difference is this is the use case for developers to promote transparency with their community. And the only difference is they can define a default token so that it's only used for their project. It's not meant to scan multiple projects. And the advertisements that are on it would be replaced with their own media. So basically, it's the same as the pro, and we're going to try to provide value by giving these developers a shout out. These project owners, that we want to encourage them to be transparent. So we're going to try to grow a community around that, or a channel that will promote these developers as well. So that's what the custom version is. And if we can provide great value, we can also get some funding from this version as well, which would provide further support for the token and the development of the project.
I think that's very smart. It's kind of like what Certic does, right? They grew up their brand in a way that now if you list Certic, they put you on the website, etc., and through rating, etc. If you guys can actually build something like that around that, that encourages people to be transparent by using your bot version there, and there'll be incentive for them to use it. I think that'd be great. Now, yeah. I want to talk about this bot versions. Now, is this mainly these different services here, like the free, the pro, the premium? Is this mainly catered to projects owner? If I was just an investor alone, how can I set this up to benefit me?
So as an investor alone, so only the custom version is geared towards developers for their own projects, and the free as well. They can use the free version, but if they want the full alerts features of the pro, and they want their own custom ad media, and they want to set a default token, they should use the custom version. The other three versions, an investor can use all three. Sorry, I actually forgot your question. So you were asking.
So I'm an investor, right? I'm an investor. So I don't have a Telegram room. Like, how do I set this up? Let's say it says I do. Let's say the pro version. I need $200 worth of TTF. How do I set this up if I don't have a Telegram room for it to benefit me as an investor?
Yeah. Okay. So the way that works is, as an investor can also use the free version where they can just chat with the bot themselves, right? So they can just go into DMs with the bot, and they can scan contracts there. They can monitor. They can pull up charts. As far as getting the pro features, the way that works is the investor has to do a verification in DMs with the bot. It's all automated. All they need to do is verify their wallet. So they feed their wallet into the bot by just typing a simple verify command, and then from there it'll verify the holdings of that wallet, and it'll ask the user, the investor, to provide a transaction proof. So the investor would just have to send one token to a randomly generated wallet that will allow, and then that transaction hash is fed into the bot, and it'll validate the holdings and monitor it going forward, that he continuously meets the requirements, and just automatically enable those features. Just happens automatically. So it's just a verification process to ensure the user is holding those tokens. And if they hold the higher tier tokens, then they'll get those features.
Okay,
so automated process.
Okay, so let's say I go into a Telegram room. Let's say, for example, right, Project A, right, have this bot in here, your bot, into the Telegram room. Okay, now I pay for the pro version. So what you're saying is that if I click on this bot here in the Project A, and if I sign up for the pro version, I have access to everything that pros offer in there. Or is this something that I have to create a private Telegram room?
No. Let me clarify that, because I wasn't clear on that. So when you verify a wallet, so a wallet that holds $200 worth of tokens can be verified in private with the bot, just to use on their own. They don't need to be in a group, just a direct chat, one-on-one between you and the bot. Or there's also the option to verify your wallet in a private group or a public group as well, but you can only verify it in one place at a time. You can't have it in two places unless you have two wallets. So the verification process is really on the investor, how he wants to use the bot and where he wants to use it. So if he wants to use it in DMs just for himself personally, he doesn't need to have a private group. He just He just does the verification directly with the bot in DMs. So that's how it works. And if he wants to use it in a group, in a private group, he can do the same. If he wants to use it in both, you have a private group and you want your own private usage of the stuff you want to monitor, then in that case, you would need two wallets and verify both wallets to have it in two different places. So does that clarify that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a little bit more clear now. Let me give you an example. Okay, so Bobby Bot, right? You set it up it's a free version where you set it up, you just input the contract number of the project and it pops up all the information about, the market cap, the sales, etc., right?
Correct.
For the pro version,
free version can always be used. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Right. So let's say if I pay for the pro version, right, and I want to create my own private little my room that maybe nobody's in it, just me only, and I want to now I'm investing in, let's say, 4 different projects that may not have your bot, but I want to set this up for me so that way I can get the alerts on these projects that I invest in. Can I do that?
Yes, 100%, and that's the way you want to do it. But it doesn't have to be a private group, but it can be. So you can set up yourself a private group and monitor 4 different projects that you're invested in that private group. Or you can just monitor 4 different projects in DMs without having the need to create a private group. That's totally up to the investor. Both ways will work. We made it so that it's flexible and can be used however you see fit. So if you have a private group and you're 2 people in it, so you can share that. You guys are investing in the same tokens. You can just create a private group amongst a couple of friends and monitor all your tokens in there as well. So that's an option as well.
That is awesome.
And people don't create their own groups and just for themselves. They just need to use it in DMs.
That's really nice. I think that's actually very important. So the project owner does not have to necessarily have this, but if you own that or if you have access to the pro, you can monitor the project yourself.
100%. So you can monitor any project. It's irrelevant if the project owners are using it or not. So the information is on the blockchain, so there's no dependency on who's using it. It's up to the investor to want to scan the projects they're investing in or holding.
Beautiful. Now, my next question is now, when you click on the link, does it show up right there and then within the Telegram room, or does it take you out to another window?
When you do what? When you click on what link? Say that again.
So let's say the pro version, right? You have monitor contract, monitor liquidity, etc. Now, does that information provide directly on, like within the Telegram room or within the bot itself, or does it take you to, let's say, Etherscan or etc.?
No, everything happens within Telegram. So all the outputs will happen within Telegram itself. All the alerts as well, the charts as well, and there's also links in these outputs that you can allow a user can dig or confirm or verify on the blockchain. So these links would then open up the transactions or the wallets on the blockchain. But everything happens within the group that you're monitoring or scanning your tokens. So, and once you scan it, you just have to click one button to monitor everything, and it's all automatic. You don't have to specify what the marketing wallet is or the airdrop wallets or whatever. It's all done for you automatically through our algorithms.
Beautiful. Okay, one more follow-up questions on that. Okay, so let's say I go into project A, for example, and the project A owner only has the free version of it, but I have the pro version of it as an investor. How does that work?
Well, his community will see only the basic alerts, which is funds being moved or tax changes. And you, as the investor, since you have the pro versions, well, you'll see everything else you're being alerted to. So the additional features that we spoke about, you'll get all those alerts in your own group or your own private DM with the bot.
Okay, private DM, but not inside his group. So there's not like a special version where I can see it only by me because I hold the pro version.
No. So you would only see it where you have the pro set up and verified. So if you have it set up in your own private group, those alerts will only come in your private group. You will not see them in the community or anywhere else. So you would have to monitor those in your own group. Your own group, or like I said, your own DMs, because you're the only one who's privileged to that information.
Got it. Got it. Very beautiful, man. Very, very well designed. Now, I guess the question is, everyone's listening right now. There's so many bots out there. What differentiate you guys? Like, name some of the features that you see out there that people are not doing, and what you guys are doing. Now, I can tell you right out the gate that I think the beautiful features that you guys have is that everything happens within the Telegram room. I think that's important because there's so many links out there. If you are savvy investors, you know where to find out this information, right? But I think the beauty about this bot is that it happens within the Telegram room right there and then. So that's beautiful. Yeah. Now, is this all the information? Would you say that all the information that you guys have on your bot is pretty much live and accurate?
Yes. So we're constantly monitoring that, and we're looking at the data, and pretty much, yes. A lot of the data on the blockchain is accurate and can be calculated. But there's so much different pieces of information. There is a little bit of dependencies on external APIs as well. And we've seen some unreliable data sometimes with external APIs, or just glitches in general. So we're actually more and more over the past weeks, we're creating our own private node so that we're taking the information and we're doing our own calculations and outputs to ensure accuracy and as well as performance, and less dependencies on others that may have issues that we can't fix because of it. So overall, yes, it's pretty accurate, but it's never 100%. We're just reporting data as we see fit. Where there's calculations being done, some of them are straightforward and will always be accurate, but sometimes we've seen some minor issues here and there because we are calculating a lot of different things, whether it's burnt supply, airdrop supply. We're calculating the US dollar value of BNB as well at that moment. There is a lot of calculations, so there might be little inconsistencies, but overall, I haven't seen much. It's pretty good. So what makes us different? So to get to your question, so as far as, like you said, there's a lot of bots. We're similar to a lot of other bots out there. So some well-known bots are like Safe Analyzer, which provides a scan of the token. We provide pretty much the same information as they do. Then there's also Prophecy that's used a lot, that also provides some basic information like performance metrics over the last 24 hours or so. And it has charting capabilities. We provide that as well in our own way. You got plenty of others that all provide a small piece of information. So we're kind of an all-in-one. You can take pretty much all these common bots, and we've put it into ours so that people don't need to run many bots. We're trying to accommodate them for at least our use cases. That's all they need, hopefully, and everything is there. That's what's similar, and what's different is the all-in-one aspect. What's really different, what makes us really different, is we've added a lot of new data and features that we haven't seen out there. This was the vision, right? So the whole alerting system, the automation of it, is pretty new. The monitoring of the airdrop wallets, the monitoring of the contract changes. These are all things we haven't seen other bots do. Maybe somebody's doing it, or we've seen a lot of, actually we've seen a few copycats, I guess, or get inspired by what they've seen from our bot. We started seeing them duplicating or trying to some of our features, but there's a lot of unique features. So the alerts is the big one of what it alerts on, the contract changes, the airdrop wallets, and the whole all-in-one aspect. So that's what makes us unique and different.
Awesome. Now, Dan, how long have you guys been around?
So the token was launched. About 2 months ago. Sorry.
Okay.
Don't start barking. So yeah, the token was launched 2 months ago. We started working on the utility prior to that, a couple of months prior to that, when we first came up with the concept. And we pretty much built the beta version prior to launching the token.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sorry, I had somebody at the door. Okay, so
No
we
problem,
so the token's been around for 2 months. The utility's been in development for longer than that, and we had the beta version a basic beta version ready upon token launch, but we expand on it. So like I said, the original idea was the whole alerting, trying to keep traders safe or investors. And then from there, we expanded through competitive analysis to become more of an all-in-one. So we kept adding more info to the scan. We added the charts later on, and we kept adding a few other features. So that's how we became, in the end, pretty much an all-in-one. But the main use cases was always there.
I see. Okay, you guys never have for 2 months. Yeah, man. I love it. I think it's actually very useful. Now, how are you guys approaching marketing wise? What are you guys doing right now? And can I ask you, how many pros and premium? Is that the numbers that you can put out there in public? How many pros have been?
Sure. Okay. So just so you know, the utility is still in beta. It hasn't been publicly released for DM usage and for pro usage yet. So we did create a lounge so people can come and try the beta and test it or use it prior to release. As well, we've allowed access to many private groups or lounges who've requested it or wanted access, because it's been giving us a lot of good feedback, and it's slowly growing also an organic following for us. So it's been a pretty organic stage so far since the launch. When we first launched, it was a stealth launch, very quiet, hush hush. It was only through word of mouth. We then started spreading it. And we've done very little marketing up until now. I've done small initiatives just to get the word out a little bit here and there, but it's mostly been development and word of mouth organic growth through the beta testing. So we're getting very close to launching the public version when people can start using the pro feature. So the pro feature is ready, but the premium is not. That's still under development. So what we're going to do marketing for now is, right now I'm still finalizing a few things. We're scheduling some different marketing initiatives. I've been doing some little tests with different marketing aspects. We've been doing some AMAs, such as I'm doing today. This is my third AMA. So we're preparing, and I'm scheduling things for post-release of the utility. A lot of people, tend to sell the news, but this is not that type of token. Once we release this utility, if people like what they see or find value in the pro features, or even just in the free usage, that's good for ad revenues. But in the pro features, that'll provide a lot of chart support and growth. So as users get onboarded, and then we'll get the word out, and it'll also self-market itself because it can be used in groups, in channels, or in DMs. The usage of it will just keep self-marketing itself. People will know what TTF is, and once they learn about it and just see it as a scanner or a charting option, they'll say, "Oh, what's this? There's some pro features. What do they do? Oh, looks pretty good. Let me give it a try." So then they'll buy tokens, even if it's just to try it temporarily, because you're not paying for pro features. People have this wrong idea where it's going to cost them money to use it. You're just holding an asset temporarily. And if you want to use it for a couple of months, you're holding these tokens for 2 months. And then 2 months later, people are free to say, "I don't need this anymore," or "I don't want to use it anymore." And they can sell it. If we do a good job in providing them value and it's useful, they'll just keep using it for a long time or forever, and they'll hold that asset. So they're never really theoretically spending any money. If the token price stays always the same, it's basically free. You're getting the pro for free. And chances are, because everybody's really early right now, and there's only growth that can come in the early days, it's a no-brainer to hold these tokens. There's no loss, and even if there's a small dip, as long as users grow, the token buy pressure will keep coming. So that's why it's not a sell the news type of event. It's really just a constant, proper growth. It's a business model, and my focus on marketing is going to be user adoption in the end. However we get that exposure out through different marketing initiatives, but the utility itself is also going to do that. So
Yeah,
so
no,
that's
good
pretty
point.
much.
Good point, and I see that. I see that point. It's actually it does not now. Even though the pro version and even the premium, it tells you that it's $1,000. But when you think about the pro version, you literally buy into the token, right? And
Yeah.
automatically you have to the pro. $200 is actually not much. Now, Dan, why do you guys decide to put the dollar value instead of the number of the token?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, we've
It's already
we've seen projects do token
Quasi.
holding a certain amount of supply, and we've seen others with value. So the reason why we chose a dollar value, it's a couple of reasons actually. One is to be fair. So to be fair to users, so a person can buy $200 worth of tokens, whether the market cap is 100K or $10 million market cap. So it'll cost people always the same amount of money at the moment they want to use it. Again, I shouldn't say cost. They need to basically like stake $200 while they're using it at any time, at any market cap. So that gives it a fair factor, regardless of what stage they're coming in or they discovered the utility and want to use it.
That
The
makes
other
sense.
aspect,
Now, Dan, that makes sense. Before you go on that, that makes sense. But what if, let's say, I buy today's value at $200, tomorrow it becomes 100? How does that work?
Yeah. So the way it works is if when they bought it and the market cap or the price goes down, they will lose the pro features, which means they would need to top up to continue. They'll still be able to use the free features, but they will no longer get the pro features because they no longer hold $200 worth of tokens due to the drop. So what happens in that case, they will need to top up in order to maintain pro membership. So that is the downside. If they buy $200 today and next month it's only worth $150 or $100, they need to top up. The upside to that is it's great for chart support. So even if there is some kind of sell-offs or users dropping out, the ones who want to stay need to top up. Now, so then at that point, that could become a cost. That's the only time you're actually spending money to use this utility, which is still valuable. So even if I have to top up, the maximum you can lose, well, I shouldn't say maximum, it's hard to say, so they need to top off basically on this model to answer that question. And it always comes down to user growth. As long as there's more users than people leaving, chances are they'll never have to top off, unless they bought exactly $200 at exactly a wrong timing. But overall, once they're holding, the way I see it, their $200 is going to turn into $400 and then $600. And the beauty of that is the opposite side of that is they can continue using the pro and taking profits along the way. So as users grow, they still have the pro features, but their $200 asset potentially now goes the opposite direction, which is where it's supposed to go. It's worth $400. They can take $100 off the table, and they'll still be holding $300 of worth and still have a cushion of potential ups and downs. So there's actually more potential to not only get the pro for free just by holding tokens, but also regularly and hopefully regularly making money if they want to, and they don't care about as an investment and they just want the pro features. They can cash out throughout its growth process and its journey. So that's a natural advantage. But yeah, there's a top off.
I think that does make sense in a lot of ways, actually. But I think it'll come to a point where, let's say, your market cap rises up to, let's say, I don't know, maybe 50 million to 100 million. Then I think there's got to be a reassessments on that, right? Because then it becomes I think that you got to make the reassessment on that.
Potentially, we will adapt. In the end, it's like any company, right? Whether you're investing in Facebook or Google, it's all about user base. If the company has a healthy user base and there's constant user growth, then everything looks good, and chances are the price model continues to make sense. If at one point it flatlines, then there might be top-offs. And if there's drop-offs of users that, I don't know, people don't want to use it anymore for one reason or the other, then we'll adapt, we'll adjust. The main thing is I want to make it fair that everybody pays a similar price and can also have these tokens as an investment, as an asset that will grow over time as well. So that's the model, and of course, it's always open to change and adoption. The second reason why it's a dollar value and not a token supply amount is it needs to be scalable, because I'm not looking to have only 100 users. I'm looking to scale this on a regular basis, month over month, year over year. So if you do a token supply, you can't really scale it unless you keep changing the supply numbers. So for example, if I say, well, you need to hold 1% of the supply to use our utility. Well, what happens after you have 100 users? You're maxed out. So not only does the 100th user pay $10,000 for their utility versus the other guy who paid $20 because he bought it on day one. That's the unfair part of it. But you get maxed out. At one point, it doesn't make any sense. With token supply, you have a limit. You have a cap. So by dollar value, there is no limit. You can have tens of thousands of users using it. It'll just keep increasing the market cap in the end, but there's no limit. So scalability is a key factor as well.
100%. Very well thought out. I think the tokenomics is actually very genius. And so just to recap, right now is a good time to get in because like Dan said, even though it requires 200 for the pro right now, which is nothing, right? Yes, there could be drop, but at right now, looking like the market cap is at, what we're looking at right now?
A little over 100K.
100K market cap. Very low. Very, very low.
Yeah.
So what that means is that $200 right now, 100 market cap. So the cons is that if it goes down, then you may have to rebuy in to get the $200. But at this level, if it increases, you get the free premium for free pretty much at $1,000 if it goes up, right?
100%.
So yeah, I definitely see the strategy behind it.
And so, even today, if people don't have $200 that they want to put into pro or they want to wait, they can buy even $100 worth. There's a good possibility that in a couple of weeks or in a month or whenever or in a day that their $100 worth of tokens are worth 200 and they automatically get the pro features because everybody is very early. It hasn't been released yet. There's no chart support from the utility at this moment. There's no ad revenues. This still has to come. There's no users holding tokens to get the pro features at this point. So these are all things that will come. So everybody's very early. It's a great time to get in. And at any time, people can get in. And as long as, like I said, users grow, chart support will follow.
What is the marketing strategy, Dan? Like, so, most of this premium services, right? There are two approaches usually by the business, right? Where they come out, they charge the premium right away. And you have the other side where the business owner decide to get this out to as far and wide as possible. Where is that? Like, what is your where are you guys on that? Like, what directions are you would say you're taking on that?
Yeah, my mindset is on the latter, what you said, user growth, adoption to get it widespread. So the free version does just that. That's why we added the charts and we added additional data to be kind of an all-in-one. So anybody and everybody can use it. So that use case is good for day traders. It's good for scalpers. It's good for people who just want to degen. It's good for people who just want to pull up charts real quick. So this free version is really about the user adoption. Then once these users come on board, the branding kicks in. Everybody gets to know who TTF is. Some of these people are investors, or actually, even if they're day traders, they still want to keep an eye on stuff and not get drained of their funds. So they'll want to upgrade to the pro version, but they'll be exposed through the free version. As far as other marketing initiatives, of course, there's going to be a few. The main thing I'm going to focus on at a certain point is videos, demonstration. I want to build use cases to show, like I've seen examples of where people have saved themselves money or it's helped them make money because it shows them good alerts that look good or based. Whereas some of them, they see some red flags. It's like, wait a minute, why is the marketing wallet selling tokens or the dev wallet? and they'll get out in time before their asset is worth nothing. So those use case studies and videos and demonstrations will also help people get the word out and see the value and the true value of the utility, what it's meant to do. And of course, constant initiatives. We want to eventually will apply eventually to CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. They'll bring more eyeballs onto it. And if we have material content and videos to showcase that and review it, just to grow users is another key aspect of growth and exposure. Is there's plans to make this bot into a Discord bot as well. So we'll onboard all the Discord users as well, who will also want these alerts. Because we support currently BSC and ETH tokens, we will also expand on other chains as needed. So there's a lot of growth potential. So marketing it, the free version is the key thing. Going into other channels like Discord, going into YouTube and video for YouTube and TikTok for videos, and then any other marketing initiatives. I will look into later on actual direct Web 2.0 marketing, whether it's Google ads or Twitter ads or Facebook ads. So there's plenty of choices there, but it's going to be a step-by-step process as funding is also available to keep going that route.
Right. I think that's the right approach as far as, making sure that this thing get spread as wide and far as possible. Even if you have to, make assessment on as far as bringing more value for the free version, right? So it's kind of like you fish and hook, right? And it's one of those strategies. I like it.
Sorry to cut you off, but I want to add one more thing is the free version is not like a lot of products I see. Sometimes they'll offer a free version, but it's pretty useless. So it's not really free. It's really just a bait. So the user adoption becomes weak if the free version is not very useful.
Right.
So we made it a point. I made it a point that the free version has its own weight. It has its own merits. It's very useful. It does what other bots do and better, or provides more data. So that's a key thing for growth, for marketing, is really just user adoption. On that mindset is let's go out and get users. Then the pro users will follow automatically. There's going to be a conversion rate. For every 100 free users, you get 5 pro buyers or so forth, So yeah.
Maybe change the name instead of say free. Maybe change to something else, and maybe a quotation around say free or something. Because when people refer free to, when people see free, they feel like even though you bring a lot of value, but it just come across that there's no value, right? And so you probably want to differentiate that a bit.
That's a great point. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm fully agreement in you. Free implies that everything else costs money, when in the end it's not. It doesn't really cost money. It requires you to hold an asset that still remains yours. You're not losing that asset. You can sell it and take it back anytime you want, whether at a loss or profit. We don't know, but it's your asset. So I like that idea. I will rename the free version.
Now, Dan, let's say 2 years from now, a year from now, you blow up and you have a lot of external revenue from the Pro, Premium, and Custom. How are these revenues kicked back to the investor in the ecosystem?
Yeah, and you forgot the free. The free version also has a revenue model. So
it is.
The ads on the free, we're going to be selling ads, right? So as more users, more impressions, more ad revenues, or more, it can attract more advertisers. So the advertising revenues is similar to the taxes we have now on the token. So the taxes provide us marketing dollars, operations dollars to support the infrastructure and costs, and also liquidity. Some taxes go into the liquidity pool. So the ad revenues can be used for those 3 factors, same way. And if they're not needed in those areas because the taxes alone are sufficient, then I want to give these to the users. So at that point, I will put up a staking platform. So holders who are holding tokens and using the bot can also stake them, and all those ad revenues will go back to these holders as well. So even if the chart becomes flatlined, I want the holders and the users of the bot to still continue getting dividends. So that's where I would like those revenues to go, unless it's better used for marketing and the different growth initiatives. Then for the pro and the premium, there's no actual revenue, but it's chart support. So it's good for investors. It's good for people who want to use the utility, and so that it keeps the chart stable, so they don't need to keep topping off. People just keep holding indefinitely as long as they want to keep using the tool. And then the custom, again, it's similar to the ads revenues of the free. So if we charge a developer 1 BNB or half a BNB or whatever to give them some value there, well, those funds, again, will feed the project, whether it's marketing, development, or rewards to the users, to the holders. So that's how we're going to fund and support the project. So there's two aspects of it, so 3 use cases, but one is for chart support, more users, more chart support, and then there's revenues from taxes, from the advertising revenue, from the ads, and from supporting developers and trying to give them some added value. So there's a lot of angles here.
A lot of angles for sure. Now, I do foresee, like you said, early on, you're going to definitely need the revenue for marketing and building, etc., just to make sure that you have a good, solid foundation. But with those revenue, do you have like a concrete, strategies in place? Is there any kind of like sort of buyback and burns? You mentioned yield, but is that actually like concrete on the white paper somewhere for the investors to see?
It's not concrete. It's not concrete at the moment. I want to keep it flexible. The same way like the taxes are flexible. Right now, it's 10% buy and sell tax, 5% towards marketing, 3% towards operating costs, and 2% towards liquidity pool. This is also not in stone. I would like to change that to 5%, for example, if it's sufficient. Maybe I need more towards marketing and operations needs less or whatever. So it is flexible at the moment. Nothing is in stone because we're still early. We're still growing and we're going to adapt accordingly. But like I said, we're going to adjust. I'm even going to look for feedback potentially towards our holders. We could even do a voting to where best to use the funds for the project. So yeah, so it's a moving scale at the time. It's not in stone, but that's the idea. What do we do with all the funds the utility brings is basically to grow the project or grow people's investments, either through marketing or through rewarding them. Both are on the table. Chances are it's going to be a bit of both. Try to balance it out.
I think that's a good strategy to balance it out. And you're right regarding the taxes, right? Now, I understand the strategy, with higher taxes there. But at the same token, also just be mindful that it actually also could also kill the project in regards that you have no trader, there's no volume, right? So the lower it is, the better it is as far as volume, even though your chart go up and down, but at least there's volume, at least there's activity in the project. So a lot of people kind of miss that point there.
Yeah, that's why I said I want to lower it to 5.5 at the next level. But since we're still a low market cap and very low value, we're looking for funding to get things off the ground, to get the initial word out, get the initial exposure. And with that, as volume grows, then we might be in a position to say, okay, we're pretty healthy right now. Let's lower it. Or we started getting ad revenues. So we have those funds we could use. We can lower the taxes to 5%. So that's why it's all dynamic and nothing is in stone. I'm gonna adjust based on, what we see is where it's needed the most.
I love it, Dan. You have an answer to every single thing that I asked or we talked about. And so that means that you had put a lot of time and energy in thinking into this project. It seems like you have a clear directions of how and where you want to take the project to. And I love that. So I think you're taking this project very seriously. And it seems like you have a very good business, very good business mind as well. Business mindful. So that's great, man. Yeah, very good.
I'm building this like a real business, like a lot of crypto projects are just, they're fun projects or they're based on hype and there's no real utility. There's no real revenue model. It's just, people like to trade or gamble, which is fine. But that's not what I'm doing here. I'm building a real business and it's meant for growth. And the growth comes because you have a good product that people want to use and invest in. So the more users, the more investments, the more growth, just like any other business.
Yeah, let's talk about this. I like to test out your bot in a room because we do have a lot of offer, whether that's Bobby Buy Bot, etc. And if we can somehow replace it with Bobby Buy Bot with different more functionalities, and if it's better, then I think I'd like to test your bot out for sure in the room.
Sure. And in which room? You want to test it now, or you want me? I can demonstrate it on my screen, maybe, or we can test it in a room. So, do you have it in your room?
No. We can do it later. We can do it later.
Okay.
I'd like to talk to you. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you after this and see.
I see. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure what you meant by that.
Yeah, and see. I want to test the bot out and see the functionalities and how it works, etc. Because it sounds very promising to me right now.
Yeah. It's no. Like I said, there's 3 use cases, and not all 3 use cases need to succeed for the token to succeed either for the project. Any one of those 3 use cases can go viral or be the real catalyst, And if all 3 or 2 out of the 3 do very well, whether it's the free use case, whether it's the pro or premium tier, or the custom version. So like I said, because it's got many legs to stand on, not one failure is going to bring this project down. It just needs one of the 3 to do well enough to support the tokenomics.
I see. All right, sounds good, Dan. Now, currently you have some taxes, and I know that your tax is flexible, and you're looking to change that just accordingly. But what are the allocations right now?
So the taxes right now are 10% buy and 10% sell, where 5% of that goes towards marketing funding, and we're taking 3% towards operations. The team is not taking any revenues, not for a while, anyways, that's for sure, because we want to make sure we can develop and have the proper servers in place and make sure we can meet our obligations for that. And we got 2% going towards the liquidity, which seems to be fine right now, but we can adjust that based on the ratios we see or as we see fit. And it's the same for buy and sell. Those are the same allocations. So that's what we have it set to right now.
Awesome.
As far as the supply goes, so we maxed out. So we have 100 million total supply. We maxed that out where one user can only hold 2%. This is hard coded into the contract, so we can't manipulate it for safety reasons. So that's the maximum amount. And the other thing we hard coded is also the taxes. Like a lot of devs can change the taxes from 10 to 90% anytime they wish, and then people are screwed. We've also hard coded in the contract that no tax can be more than 25% max. So we can't rug it with taxes. We can't rug it with the max wallet by setting it to 100% and dumping God knows what the supply is. So we try to put a lot of safety measures into the contract. We've also had our contract audited. We got an amazing score from the auditing company, which was like a 98 out of 100. And the only reason we didn't reach 100 is really because it's not renounced, because we can still manipulate some of these values, like the taxes and so forth. So that's the tokenomics.
Yeah, I definitely can see that your tax is modifiable, and you say up to 25% only, correct?
Correct. That's the maximum we can put, So we left that flexibility mostly for launch, because when we launched it, we wanted to discourage certain types of bots and traders and snipers. So we started with a high tax, and also in case we ever want to shift, we want to put it to 0 buy and 15 sell, for example. So we gave ourselves some flexibility on that contract, but still made it in a way that people can't be screwed with it.
And your anti-whale function, you don't intend to use that, do you, anymore?
Well, the anti-whale is really the 2% max. I think that anti-whale function comes from that. Because it's capped at 2%, there's no one whale who can do a large transaction or a large dump in one go, And let's say you have the alerts. Let's say we do have a whale who has 5 max wallets at 2% each, for example. So let's say I'm the dev. I have 5 wallets at 2%. I can sell them one after the other, but I still have to switch wallets and do 5 separate transactions. So there's still a risk, but a person would get an alert on the first one and say, "Oh, what's going on?" And and it can't be, like I said, we can't. So nobody. The problem with that is sometimes team members can hold a large amount of supply on reserves, and they'll say it's for a central exchange or it's for future initiatives or staking rewards, but they end up dumping it on the users. So if they're holding 30% of the supply and there's no max wallet, they can do one sell and rug the whole chart. So we can't do that, and that's what that anti-whale feature, I think, is what it refers to.
Okay, perfect. All right, sounds great, Dan. Man, great presentation. Looks like you know in and out, and you know exactly the directions that you want to take the project to, and I love that. Very solid direction. And yeah, man, I think you guys have something here. Maybe I'm not in tune with the bots out there, but I have not seen all this future, especially that's being displayed within the Telegram room. So I think that's going to be very useful for project owners to be transparent with their project and just bring more trust to the project. But also it's great for investors able to come in and just see all the important features that they need to know to determine whether the project is actually great for them to make the investment. So very convenient.
Yeah. So like I said, so people can invest because they like the vision or the project or the potential growth. People can buy tokens just because they like the utility, or people are just free to use the utility and it gives us exposure and, in a way, free advertising. So everything checks out. Everybody's welcome. Everybody has a purpose to be involved with TTF, whether as an investor, whether as a utility user, or even just as a free user, So, and we got more things coming on, we didn't get into
test it out. I like to test it out. So let's say if I have an AMA coming up, let's say 5 days from now, I like to, turn on this bot so that way the community knows a bit about the project that's coming up for an AMA. I can see that the use case in that way for groups, right?
For sure, yeah. So and if you turn it on 5 days alerts 5 days prior, you have a little bit of a history. So you get to see a 5-day history, how it's evolved in the last 5 days, or how funds were managed, or how the contract may have been managed prior to the AMA. And then you can even ask about some of those transactions if you feel the need. But that's an option for sure. Yeah.
Sounds great. All right. Is there anything else you want to cover before we take some questions?
No, we can go straight to the questions. In the end, I said, well, you've asked a lot of good questions, so I was able to elaborate. And in the end, I think it's a no-brainer. There's a lot to benefit, like I said, as a user, as an investor, or just, there's a lot that hasn't launched yet. There's no buy pressure yet. Right now, it's just people investing, but the buy pressure will come with the adoption. So it's a great time to get in, and it'll remain a great time going forward because I'll keep pushing this, and we'll keep getting people to discover it.
Awesome. Now, my last question for you, how safe it is, Dan? So what are the things that I need to turn on for me to put this bot into my room? And how can I ensure as a group, a project owner, that this bot is safe?
Okay, so the way it works is most bots require some permissions to be able to function based on their functions. So our bot, because it sends out messages on its own through the alerting system, and it needs to read messages, right? So it's the same with many bots. So you have to give it basic admin rights, but just the bare minimum, which is it's allowed to read the message, so it can read the contract that you want to scan, and it's allowed to post the messages, so it can send you the output or the alerts. So, and that's pretty much all it does, right? So somebody adds it to their group, gives them basic admin rights, doesn't need any advanced rights that could be more dangerous, and you're good to go.
All right. Yeah, we did go in depth on this, and I think the community has a very good understanding what your project is about now. So with that being said, Mike's been keep tracking some questions in the room, and he's going to come on and read off some of the questions.
Sure. All right. Thanks, Seattle. Appreciate the nice breakdown there, Dan. Like Seattle said, that was a full breakdown of the project, but We do have a couple of good questions here that we can roll through that we haven't really covered over. Dan, first community question is about partnerships. Sniperman says that it is stated in your roadmap that there will be a partnership marketing. So his question is, do the team have plans in the future to partner with some companies or projects that has the same interests of security as TTF? What type of partners are you looking for?
Yes, so there's definitely partnerships on the horizon. When it comes to partnerships, they come with a purpose. Whether it's because we share the same narrative and we want to keep people safe in crypto, whether it's because our users share the same needs and the utility, both communities can benefit from the utility because of their needs, and also to complement each other through the utility or the communities where our utility or data complements their utility or data. So regardless of what type of partnership it is, it's going to have a purpose. They're going to be meaningful. It's going to provide value either to the project to attract or feed off each other's communities, or it's going to provide value to the users of the utility by adding additional data or sharing of data. So there's definitely talks. I can't disclose or won't disclose any until it actually happens, but that's definitely on the horizon.
Perfect. Great answer. Appreciate that, Dan. Next one's coming in from Certified Loaner here. His question is, going to the features in the bot, it was not mentioned if the bot can give a notification when a locked period of a liquidity pool will expire. Is this possible with the bot, or could it even be added in at some point?
That's a good question. So we do output the days of when the lock expires, but we don't provide alerts. So basically, if a token is locked for 30 days and they happen to rescan it the day after, it'll just say 29 days, but it will require them to pay attention and scan it. But an alert is a good idea. That's something I will note that down, and maybe we can set up something that if the lock is coming up 5 days or less, it will provide a daily alert or something as a countdown, like 5 days left for the lock status, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, and people might want to sell before it gets to zero potentially. So that's great question. I noted that, and we'll look into that, see if we can add it.
Awesome. That was a great question there, Certified Loaner, and hopefully we can get that type of feature in there, as it could be very useful. Next one is coming in from Carlos here. If your tracking will only work on the BSC and ETH networks, I say F, and Seattle gets me for that all the time. But ETH networks, how will you continue tracking when those wallets change their funds to other networks such as Matic and all these other types of networks? Bridges are the fastest option to lose track, so how can we avoid that?
We don't have a solution for that at the moment. So cross-chain swapping happens, although there's a lot of variables, but the main variable is they'll see the initial funds being sent out. We can't really handhold them through all the different flows and transactions and movements, but they can ask about it. If they have the knowledge, they can dig in on their own on the blockchain. It gives them the key alert, at least, to say something has happened, but from this point on, there's only so much we can do, So we can't alert on cross-chain transactions, just that the initial transaction happened.
10-4. Appreciate that, Dan. Let's see. Next question is rolling in. Actually, another question from Certified Loaner here is, I think we touched on this earlier. Will you guys be having a version of the TTF bot for Discord?
Yes. So we have plans, once the user adoption and Telegram channel has been played out well and adoption has come, we will migrate and add the Discord community, another channel there, and potentially do even more than that, which I don't want to get into details, but Discord is on the roadmap.
Perfect. Now, assuming someone can, or just just launched. I'm sorry, is there someone here trying to ask that question? Was that you, Roy Rivers? No worries. Coming back to this, question was, assuming someone just launched a meme coin with no info about the socials or anything, there's nothing much really to go on. Can the owner of the project manually add in the links to the bot so that anyone who wants to scan the contract with said contract can use your TTF bot to do so?
No, not at the moment. We can't manually add the data. Plus, a lot of that data is dynamic and it could change, but we only read the socials upon if the contract owners have specified it. So we don't have an additional option, but I'll say something on that. We are looking at a potential future partnership that can provide more data than just social links based on the profile of the dev owner. But again, if that information is not there, as it becomes available, potentially we can have an add-on that can elaborate on that with a simple command or an add-on to our data set. But not at this time, they can't add it manually.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate that, Dan. So let's see. The next question is coming in from Hazar. What are the additional benefits holding a token besides the TTF bot? Will there be anything in the future that could be advantageous besides your TTF bot that you might be developing?
Yes, so a couple of things. So the advantages of holding the token is, one, you get to use the utility, as you mentioned, but through our revenue streams, so we have the ad revenue streams and potential devs revenue stream, those would potentially be paid out into rewards. That's not in stone. That's why I'm saying potentially, but that is the goal. That is the idea. So there's that. And of course, there's the investment aspect. If the business is good and the business shows growth, then the other advantage is it's an asset. It becomes an investment. So you're either buying for utility usage, you can buy as an investment because the company seems promising and it's showing growth, or you can just be holding it as a stable and getting dividends because the ad revenues are being shared to the holders.
Awesome. That's great. Now, Dan, one of the questions I always love to ask is, from start till now, from when you wanted to make the TTF bot to right now, can you give us the hardest developing or the hardest thing you've had to overcome to date?
I would say time. Well, there's two things. There's two things, right? There's time in what you've scheduled yourself for, and then actual time going through, right? Because I like to do things well, and that's both a positive and a con. But there's never enough hours in a day, so time is always a big challenge. I'm stretched thin, and we need to delegate and scale accordingly. The other challenge, I'll give you a second challenge. The other challenge is the whole marketing space of crypto, in my opinion, is just, I don't know what one single word to give it, but we'll say poor. You know, it's not a healthy, it's not a normal marketing space. So I'm going to explore and go into Web 2.0 marketing initiatives, as well as the crypto stuff that's out there. So that's been challenging because I've seen a lot of unreliability, ineffectiveness, and just poor or no return on investment from my observations, even though I still have a lot to try out and do, which we will do. So those are the two main challenges. Sorry, I gave you two.
That's right. I appreciate that. That was a great answer there, Dan. Let's see. Next question is coming in from Blake. His question is, how frequently the bot is updated? For me to add to this question is, how frequently is it needed to be updated?
So how frequently it is to update it? Regularly. And we constantly say, oh, let's add this feature, or we pay attention to our competitors potentially, and they might have inspired something, or we receive feedback from a user, or a glitch in data accuracy, or we want to just make it faster. So there's constant development changes on all those aspects. It does data, as far as how often is it needed, that depends on how proud or determined you are to keep improving on it. So it's not needed. Everything is functional as is. For example, we don't need to add features. We don't need to make it faster if it's already fast enough. And we potentially don't need to fix some glitches if they're minor, but we are doing those things. So the need for development, it's there because we have some stuff on the roadmap that we're still developing. But what we're doing is not based on need. It's based because we want to provide a top-notch quality and well-maintained utility. So it'll keep improving.
Perfect. Let's see. One of the last, I'll take a couple more anyways. The next community question here I'm seeing is about tutorials. Is there going to be, or are there any tutorials in place currently that could give a user an in-depth how-to on using your TTF bot?
No, not at the moment. This is something I want to create. You said a portfolio?
No, not portfolio. Tutorial.
Okay. Oh, tutorial. Sorry, that's why I got confused. Okay, yeah. No, this is something I want to still make. I want to make a great how-to video. I do have one, but it's outdated, so I haven't published it. But I want to have a proper YouTube video how-to, along with case studies. I mentioned that I want to get some case studies out there over time. But and in the case studies, it kind of will give a little bit of a how-tos as well and educate people how to use it, and of course some content, some articles. So that's not in place yet, but it'll come.
Awesome to come. I always love a good tutorial. Let's see. One of the last ones I'll take care of from Game Fingers is, what is the future plans for the TTF bot? And for me to add to this question, I would say, could you even add this onto iOS and Android, where it could become a beautiful little app that could send you notifications to such contracts?
So the answer is, could it? Yes. Will it? It's crossed my mind a few times. I won't say it will or it won't, but it's on the table. It's not on the roadmap at the moment, but like I said, we will keep growing and going into other channels. So let's say Discord would be one channel, iOS and Android would be another channel as well, and or adding new chains to the bot. So there's a lot of channels we can keep adding to it, but in the immediate, it's not on the table for now, but it's definitely possible.
Amazing. Oh man. I actually really enjoyed this AMA, Dan, and that's all the questions we're going to take from the community today between Telegram and also Twitter. If there's any questions I missed or simply still want answered, it was a very in-depth AMA, head on over to TTF's Telegram, and Dan and the team, I'm sure, will be happy to answer any and all questions. With that being said, Dan, thank you so much for coming in today on this beautiful Saturday just before Mother's Day and breaking down the project with us.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. It was a great AMA, and I'm glad I got to elaborate and answer people's questions. I also wanted to add that there's a prize that I added to the AMA, which is for every buy that comes in as 0.1 BNB and TFT tokens, I'll keep it running for the next, say, 3 hours. So from prior to the AMA, because I announced it yesterday, till for the next 3 hours, we'll say, I don't know what time zone, we'll say 8 p.m. Eastern time zone. For every 0.1 buy that comes in, one draw will be made for a 0.2 BNB prize. So if somebody wants an easy 3x and try their chances while getting themselves a little bit of TTF tokens, go for it.
Sounds beautiful. Great. And it looks like Johnny just pinned the chart there, guys. So check out the chart if you guys are interested. Very well presented, Dan. Very clear directions of where you want to take this. and I think it's actually very promising. And I'd like to chat with you after sometime soon here.
Sure, anytime.
Awesome. Now, with that, we do have some giveaway, right, Mike?
We do. We have our normal giveaway today, ready to roll. I have taken down everybody's name like always. Santa Mike is here and ready.
Sounds good. Now, Dan, would you like us to raise awareness to your Telegram room?
You raise awareness to your Telegram room? Sure. Why wouldn't I?
Sounds great. Well, there's going to be a lot of people come in, and sometimes the developers did not expect that, right? So, Johnny, you can. So, Johnny, you can pin the Telegram. Their Telegram guys. If you join there, Mike's going to come over and pick a $10 or $15 win over there. I think it's actually a very promising project. It's still, pretty early. They still work on some futures, but they do have a great marketing strategy in place. Like Dan said, he's going to try to spread this far and wide as possible. I guess a free version. A lot of value is already out there already, and they're working on the Pro is almost done, and the Premium is on the way as well. So be part of the community and join the Telegram.
Yeah. And just so you know, we've already, I didn't mention, because you mentioned in the beginning of the AMA about stats, but we have already had in the beta version over 50,000 scans done on contract scans to date. And that's just on private groups and invites. And the feedback has been awesome, even though it's in beta, even though we're tweaking and adjusting. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Adoption can get pretty big, pretty fast.
Yeah. Wow. 50,000 runs. Wow. That is amazing. Just on the beta run there. Nice, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah. So
right,
people are using it.
100%. Oh, man, I can see that. And I like it. And like I said, we're going to have a nice little chat here soon, about a couple of extra little things here. With that being said, Dan, this is going to wrap up our AMA here, and I'm going to share my screen for the rest of the giveaway. It is up to you if you'd like to stay or go, but I'm also going to be uploading this to YouTube and getting you over a copy ASAP, brother.
Sounds good.
I'm going to share my screen over yours here, Dan. All right. Here we go, guys. Santa Mike is giving away $20 on the wheel today. We're going to shuffle this up and grab our winner. We're also going to follow up with $20 for the best question. And as we all know, there's $25 on the Twitter event that's been going on for about 30 hours now. Fitness lover, congratulations. Won yourself $20. Amazing. And that is going to wrap it up. Stay tuned for follow-up YouTube giveaway. With that being said, this is USA Crypto Group. We love you all. And we hope that you guys all have an absolutely amazing Mother's Day tomorrow. We love you all, and we will see you guys in the next one. Dan, thank you so much again. Seattle, you ready, brother?
Let's do it.
It's been an amazing day. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Okay, great. Thank you. Have a good one.
Peace.